Hey guys, welcome to Luna's Kitchen. I'm Luna. Today we're going to be talking about an all-American favorite dish, and that's chili. So chili is just one of those dishes that everyone has their own take on the recipe. Everyone has their own different way of eating it, of making it. And today we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. There's many different ways of making chili. Some people add beans, some people don't add beans, some people add one meat or two different meats. So follow along and I'm going to show you how I make chili. Okay, so step one is actually, if you're gonna add beans to your chili, making sure that you prep the beans. So right here, I boiled two different types of beans, which is black beans and red kidney beans. And I think I did about half a cup of each. And right now I'm going to be prepping the meatballs that I'm going to be putting in the chili. So this chili, I put in two different types of meat. I did sweet Italian sausages and I rolled them into meatballs with some light cornstarch, and I'm just going to lightly fry them in some oil, and I'm just going to take them out. I'm not going to fry them and cook them all the way because they're going to cook inside the chili. I'm just frying them lightly so that way they could maintain their little meatball shape. And then I'm going to also use ground beef for this recipe. So right now I'm taking the sausages out and I've lightly fried them, and you can see they're still a little bit pink. They're not cooked thoroughly. And I'm gonna use that same oil and I'm gonna go ahead and prep my ground meat. So I'm adding some red onions, and feel free to use some white or yellow onions or no onions if you don't like that, or even use scallions or whatever your preference, or just make the ground meat however you like. But right here I'm gonna show you how I prepare my ground meat. I know that a lot of you guys like the taste of cumin or chili powder seasoning. I don't really like the taste of cumin, so I'm not going to use any cumin in this recipe, but feel free to. And again, I'm just showing you guys how I season my meat. You're welcome to season it however you like, whatever you're used to. Or if you want to follow along and do it exactly how I did it, I've included the recipe and I've included all the spices, all the ingredients that I use in seasoning my meat, and everything I put in there. And again, I'm just seasoning my meat with some garlic powder. I'm going to add some onion powder in there. I know a lot of people like their chili with a lot of heat. I like my chili a little spicy as well. And this is some cayenne pepper I'm adding. I like to add different types of pepper. And I'm also going to add some hot sauce. That thick sauce is really spicy hot sauce, and I'm adding like a tablespoon of it. If you have your own specialty hot sauce that you like using, feel free to add some. I'm not going to add all the pepper all at once, so I'm just adding a little bit at a time. And now I'm adding some paprika, just because chili always calls for a little smoky flavor. So I'm adding some of that. It smells so good, by the way. You guys can't even smell it, but it smells so good. I'm adding some red chili flakes. And all of that, all of the spices are going to make the taste of the beef come out. I'm adding a cube of Maggi. When I make chili, I believe in really seasoning my meat. It's not so much seasoning the sauce only, the tomato sauce or everything else is just making sure that the meat that I'm adding to the chili is well seasoned. So I'm adding a cube of chicken bouillon flavored Maggi. Again, you guys are welcome to bypass this step. This step is optional. You can just, if you're happy with salt or another type of seasoning, feel free to use that. But that's what I'm using. Okay, so now my ground beef is ready. It's well seasoned. So now I'm gonna remove it from the fire. I'm gonna add a different pot, and that's when the fun part is gonna begin. That's when you're actually gonna start putting all your ingredients together and start making your chili. Okay, so right now I'm just going to fry up some cherry tomatoes, and I'm using cherry tomatoes just because that's what I had left in my fridge from I bought a pack to make salad, and I just had a pack of cherry tomatoes left over. You can use plum tomatoes, you can use any kind of red tomatoes, and I like my chili to have a really thick kind of consistency. I like the texture to be really rich. So I'm adding some onions. I'm gonna fry up my onions and along with my tomatoes. And again, I'm going to add all the ingredients, all the amounts and everything, all the quantity that I used. So you guys, if you want to do it exactly like how I did it, please feel free. And okay, so now I'm gonna add the rest of my powder seasoning. I've just added some red pepper flakes. I'm adding the rest of my paprika. And that's just the tomatoes and the onions that I'm frying up. I'm adding about a tablespoon of tomato paste. And that tomato paste is going to give you that thick red sauce that you're gonna, chili is known for. This is just the water that I use to boil my beans. I'm using my bean water. I recommend doing this because it keeps the flavor of the bean inside the chili instead of just using fresh water, and then you have to kind of salt everything again, and basically you're kind of starting from scratch. So I like to use my the water that I boil my beans, my black and red kidney beans. That's the same one I use to make the chili. And I'm adding the rest of my hot sauce right now. Well, not all of it. I'm probably going to add all of it later. Okay, so guys, so now I'm adding my cilantro. Again, I'm going to add the recipe and all the ingredients that I use. I'm showing you guys my boiled beans, my red kidney beans and black beans. So I've added my cilantro, and now I've added my black beans, and I'm going to add the rest of the powder ingredients. You saw I added half of the powder ingredients to the meat when I seasoned it, and now this is the rest of the seasoning, the powder seasoning that I'm adding to the chili itself. And now I'm adding my meatballs. Well, my sausages. I shouldn't call them meatballs. My sausages. So now I'm adding the tomato sauce. I've added some tomato paste, and now I'm adding the tomato sauce. This is about 1.5 cups of tomato sauce that I'm adding. And again, I'm going to add all the ingredients. And I'm just adding the rest of the bean water. Some of you guys like your chili really saucy. I like it a little bit in between, or some of you guys like it really thick. This is the water from the ground meat. I just kind of use a little bit of the bean water, and I poured it in the pan because I wanted to get all that seasoning. I wanted to get everything in there. Um, and I'm adding some black pepper, some whole black pepper in there, and I'm adding a little bit of water because my chili was looking really, really thick. And it has something to do with the fact that I fried my sausages in cornstarch. And as you know, cornstarch will make whatever you're making, it's going to make it really, really thick. So that cornstarch really made my chili really thick. So I had to add a little extra water. And I don't think I showed you guys that I added some bay leaves in the mixture. I added 4 bay leaves. If you guys can see the little green leaves in there, that's just bay leaves. And then there's some corn in there. I added about a quarter of a cup of sweet corn. You guys don't have to do that. Again, that step is optional. If you want to, you can. It doesn't take a really long time to cook corn. You could just add it as the very last step, and then you could also add the bay leaves as the very last step, and then you could let everything cook for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and then you remove it off the stove. Overall, my chili came out wonderful. It was so good, and there's so many different ways to eat chili. I had it with corn chips. You can have it on a hot dog with a bun. You can have it over fries. You can put some cheese in there. I know some people eat it with white rice. Some people even eat it with spaghetti. Like, there's a number of ways you can have chili. You can have it by itself. I love chili with corn chips. I could eat chili with corn chips all day. Not very good for my waistline, but I could do it all day. So that's it. It was just so good. Now I'm stuffed. I'm trying to give you guys all the information so you can just go ahead and make chili yourself. But I'm stuffed and I am nearly falling asleep. It was so good. So reach out, let me know in the comments if you liked it, if you made it, if you attempted it, how did it go, if I can answer any questions. And I know that there's a lot of ingredients, a lot of spices I've included in my chili. That's just the way that I like it. I like it to be really flavorful, really rich. Perhaps you can bypass a few steps if you don't like all the seasoning that I do. You can go ahead and bypass a few steps. Let me know what you do and just kind of let me know how it goes. Well, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.